Hello, 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 hello. Hello, y'all. This is Miss G. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in this room. We are talking. We just continue to talk about Africa, honey. Come on in this room. Come on in this room. Come on in this room. How is everyone? I'm colorful today. Colorful. Gotta show my Obama. I want to welcome everyone. Thank y'all so much for coming on. My name is Gloria, Miss G, Glow. Whenever you met me, in whatever situation, right? So I am a certified travel consultant, curate your travels, all of that. But more than that, I am an avid traveler, solo traveler. Hey, Kaden, solo traveler, 50 plus traveler, and love the continent of Africa. I always tell my story. You can go back and check out my videos. Hey, YouTube, what's up? Check out my videos of how I got to this point. So, in short, people used to ask me in my travels about Africa, and I decided, hey, Essie, thank you for coming back on. I decided, you know what? Let's talk about Africa. So we started this in October, y'all, and just talking about all of the countries. I said I'm going to go through every single one of the 54 countries. So I have attempted, but I would get sidetracked. So I've gone through probably 45 of the countries, 45, 50 of the countries. And then when the election came, we switched it up and switched it up to include not only traveling to, well, checking out the country, okay, because the countries kind of break up like this. So most of the countries are fabulous. I would say 45 of the countries you can travel and, of course, live. It's only a handful, less than a dozen that, is still having their drama, won't let people in, keeping all that nonsense and drama. But most of the countries are moving very quickly, expanding, like blowing our minds. So we wanted to go over every single one to give the people in the diaspora options to, options of places to travel and places to live. So it's not just the five countries we know, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, and Senegal. Okay. It's 50 other countries in the continent of Africa, right? Africa is not a country like people want to make it. Africa is massive. Africa is very massive. So now we have gone and now we are talking about, because it was a big thing with, the Ghana citizenship, and then Burkina Faso is doing a special citizenship that you can jump on and do their citizenship is going on right now through a organization called ADDI. Yeah, our ADDI.org. And they're going through the process. So I'm going to give some background on citizenship because citizenship seems like it's a buzzword. If we leave, do you have your dual citizenship like it's a flex? So I personally feel it's a lot. Just like if people want to get their citizenship in the United States, they go through a lot of process. And in my research, in the African countries, you're going through a lot too. You're going through a lot. So you would want to think about, do you really want to do it? Now, in the US and with a US passport, thank God we do not have to give up our US passport. We can have a dual citizenship. But do you want to go through the whole process of just getting another passport to use for what? And as I said last night in my live, the only thing that I would feel would be beneficial to have an a passport for one of the countries in Africa, you would be able to also have passport rights or with other countries. So, and we're going to talk about that tonight, the ECOWAS. Okay. So the ECOWAS is specifically for West African countries, right? So we're talking about Sierra Leone, that's in West Africa. Hey, David, welcome. I appreciate you for coming on. Welcome to the Glow Tribe. Welcome to um, Africa Awaits Travel. And thank you for being part of the group. We have a fun group. And YouTube, what's up? Give me a shout out. I love my YouTube people. Usually they are international. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So tonight we are talking about citizenship and visas in Sierra Leone, right? So Sierra Leone is special to me because my daughter, my baby daddy is Sierra Leone. Well, anyway, my ex-husband is Sierra Leone, and my daughter is first generation, like serious first generation American. She is truly an African American. Her dad and all of his relatives are um, Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone. He came to United States. I met him in Brooklyn. You know the typical story, right? Met him in Brooklyn. We got married. We came to Atlanta, and she was the first person born in the United States from his side of the family. So that's a real big thing. Real big thing. So she has her Sierra Leone citizenship by descent. So we're going to break down the different ways. So different ways that you can get citizenship. But as I mentioned yesterday, since citizenship is a big thing, and most of the people that are coming on the live, they're getting information because this is their first time traveling to the continent. So to talk about citizenship is very premature because you have to go through a lot of processes to get to that. So what I decided after, what did I talk about yesterday? I forgot who I was talking about yesterday, but I noticed the length of time and the length of time and the processes that you have to go through to be a citizen and get a passport. I felt that, you know what, let's start with the visas process and then you build and decide where you want to go, because a lot of time most of the people on here, if they are qualifying to be Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on. Most of the people that are checking in, if they qualify to be citizens. They're not on the live, okay, because they already know the deal because they've been entrenched in the culture for a long while. So I am going to work backwards and talk about briefly the the citizenship. Then I'm going to talk about the visa. Or no, let me give you a little history. A little history. So Sierra Leone, and I covered this before. Their like their capital is Freetown, and it's because it was Freetown was where all of um, the freed slaves lived right after slavery. So they got that name and um, other things that was going on there. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I am so sorry. But anyway, so let's go um, to the citizenship. Okay, because I'll get lost. I'll get lost. Gloria, you gotta stay focused. Gotta stay focused. I have a lot of good stuff, and I'm putting so much in. I don't want to run over. So let me focus on the citizenship, the visa, cost of living, how you make your money, and all of that, right? So you would one be able to get your citizenship in Sierra Leone by descent or ancestry. And if you are from the diaspora African American, you get Courtney, automatic citizenship. That's what happened to my daughter when she went over to visit. She got her passport right in her when she visited. So she got automatic because her dad, grandparents, everyone is from Sierra Leone. So or she did get her passport immediately when she visited there. And then you have birth, of course, and then you have marriage. So I could have been Sierra Leone, but we divorced now. I don't think that kicks in, but um, and then naturalization. So the naturalization is a long process. So we thought yesterday um, the process was long, 5 years, but obvious that we was talking about Ghana yesterday. So it's 5 years. For Sierra Leone, you have to be there 15 years before they naturalize you. So that's a lot. Okay. Now you can fast track. It's pricey, right? It's pricey, but there are alternatives if you would like to get citizenship. And I know that they have, waivers and provisions for the African American diaspora, um, but it's still a long and expensive process. Rosemary, welcome. So, with naturalization, it's going to be 15 years that you got to live in Sierra Leone to get your citizenship, unless you were, you have you have ancestors, descent, or you get the DNA. For us, we don't have to go through the 15 years. We would just have to take a accredited DNA test. Now, I talked about that yesterday a bit because some of these sites, I told you my niece gifted me one of those DNA um, uh, kits or whatever. And for some reason, I just wasn't trusting it. I was like, how they know? All of us came on boats and like we were not even tagged. So how they know? And it's weird because they said that I had a lot of Nigerian in me. but I don't feel that connection. No shade to Nigeria, but I just don't feel that connection, right? And the crazy thing is, I think my niece gifted my older sister um, one too, and her DNA and everything was different. So watch those DNA tests. So I heard 23 and Me do not use. They're a farce. Allegedly. Allegedly. But um several of my resources said 23andMe is a fraud, and then ancestry.com is a fraud. They said that using, as I mentioned before, um, African ancestry, that is the DNA platform that is the most accurate, um, that you would get your results. And it's about $300 um, for that service. And that service also gives you, well, it gives you one or two things. You can go on your mother's side or you can go on your father's side. I haven't dug in to see if you can do both, but there is Ancestry. What is it? Ancestry DNA does both. So those are the two sites that were recommended um, for your DNA testing. Okay. Um, Now, we went through for the um, for all of the requirements for your citizenship, and also um, the African diaspora. You also, with all of that and the application process, all of that, you are required to attend a heritage or civic organization business workshop in Sierra Leone. That's a requirement. So you know how the people were at Ghana in Ghana and went through the naming ceremony, all of that. You have to go through a heritage workshop, and that's about 2 weeks. And you have to go through a a certified travel agency, and they had a couple that were recommended um, that has the whole entire Sierra Leone citizenship package um, um, all together. So I'm different. Like I'll book you to go, but they have the Sierra Leone citizenship and probably other countries that they have the whole package already put together. Your flights are leaving out of Dulles in DC, and then you are there for 2 weeks. You're there for 2 solid weeks, and your package includes your flight, your accommodations, and food, and the ceremony, and everything like that. That is also a requirement. So that looks like that costs about 5 grand, and that is with, it's called the African, I wrote it down here somewhere. The African diaspora. No, 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 no. I forgot I wrote it. You know how I'll be writing stuff all over the place. Um, I'll get that for y'all if you are interested. The company that puts it together, that was highly recommended. So it's about $5,000, because with all, this is a side note, with all of the citizenships that y'all that you would want to do, you have to be present to get your citizenship. Just like here, when you get your naturalization and go through the program, you have to be there. So they do have a package. It's 2 weeks. You learn, and it's a heritage. It's all inclusive. And, with the flight, with the flight and the 2 weeks stay and all of that, it's about 5,000. So really and truly, that's not bad because, flights can be 1,000 right by itself. And then you have accommodations and then the food and then the travel and everything else. So 5,000 is right about right. So that's fair. It's not like ridiculous. Now, a plus, and I mentioned this yesterday about Africa, the Africa Union wants to do a global passport for the continent of Africa. They have a subset already, and it is the ECOWAS. Okay, so the ECOWAS, ECOWAS. Okay, that stands for the Economic Community of West Africa States. So with that, if you have citizenship or passport in one African country, you can travel freely with that passport. So if you have a Sierra Leone passport, you can go to Cote d'Ivoire. You can go to 15 other West African countries because they're all in the ECOWAS community, the Economic Community West African states. So you can travel throughout with your one passport and you can go to the other countries. So what the African Union wants to do is to do it throughout the entire continent. So that's what they're working on. But they do have a subset of that now that you can travel throughout West Africa. Okay. So what else? What else? And that is called I'm jumping back. So with the descent and ancestry, I forgot to mention yesterday, it's called the right of abode. That's like the process of, if you have ancestry or descent, it's the right of abode. I don't think I mentioned that yesterday. So going back, I was talking about, okay, so if you don't want to, if you're not Sierra Leone in your blood or whatsoever, you don't qualify and you want to naturalize, okay, and you don't want to wait for 15 years. Hey, Miss Missy, you don't want to wait for 15 years. You do have a fast track. Now, these are for the folks with the good pensions and the folks that actually saved their money and didn't touch their 401k. Okay, this is for y'all. Okay, not for me, but it's for y'all. Okay, so fast track, you can get citizenship by investment. And really, at the end of the day, it's really not that much if you have a nice 401k sitting, right? It's $140,000. And for each dependent, it's $10,000. So if it's you and your wife and y'all retire, it's $150,000 that y'all got to have sitting in the bank. And you can get citizenship that way. And a lot of countries operate like that. That is citizenship by investment. So, that is a alternative also. I'm not going to get in because we already know, because if y'all have been on the live with me, most of y'all are part of the Globe Tribe, the YouTube people. Y'all can go and look at the past videos of the history. It's the same history. It's the Portuguese or the French or the British you know, came through when the Africans was minding their business in their kingdom and went in, upheavaled everything and stole everything. It's the same. So I'm not gonna go through, um, that history because this is actually about getting over there. So let's talk about visas because that's more on the track that we need to be. All right. So it's like, okay, so the visas are like going to high school and college, getting your bachelor's, right? But the citizenship is going to get your master's and PhD. You know what I'm saying? So the visa, let me tell you the type of visas you can get going to Sierra Leone. Okay. Um, you can get a tourist visa that lasts about 30 days. You can get a business visa that lasts usually about 30 days, but you can have an extended, for obvious reasons. And transit visas, you may run into, like when I book my clients, um, coming from the States and going to like Kenya, they may fly Egypt Air. And Egypt Air usually stops in Cairo and has a long layover. So I know Doha sometimes has long layovers. And with that, you are eligible to get a transit visa. Okay. So a transit visa gives you 24 to 72 hours in that country. So you you can move, you could move freely and go and visit that country. So what I like to do with my clients is if I book you to go from the United States another place and you are able to, you have a layover. I always love to find long layovers so you can basically get a BOGO. I'm so cheap. Um, yeah, but I'll be watching them pennies, honey. So a BOGO, so you can get another country within a country. So a BOGO. Okay. So when you go and you're doing the layover, you pay like $25. Sometimes most times the transit visas are free, but it's a longer process. And by the time you get off a flight, you just want to get to where you want to go. So I know, like when you stop in Egypt, it's free, but then you got to go through this and that, and it may be an extra hour or two to get it free. So you just pay your $25 and they stamp it in 10 minutes. So it's probably $25 because nobody after a 10-hour flight wants to go through another hour and a half to get a visa that you're only going to be there for about 24 hours and just pay the $25 and go on about your way. And that gets you into the country. So yeah, the transit visa is up to like 72 hours, right? And then you have the diplomatic visa for the diplomats and all that. And then you have a work visa. Now the work visas are tricky, okay, depending on each country. So you can get a work visa, but usually the work visas are so expensive. Why, I do not know. But the company, probably because with work visas, companies are sending their people over to the country to do so. The government will charge the company, these exorbitant fees. It's not an individual, it's, the company. So work visas are outrageously expensive. Um, but you would get your company to pay for the work visa. Student visa, obvious. And we talked about the ECOWAS. The ECOWAS, for folks that just came on, is the Economic Community of West Africa States. And what that means is it's a coalition. And if you have one passport or citizenship to a West African country, you're able to um, go to 14, 15 other West African countries on that one passport. Okay, what time is it? It's 33. Okay, I'm rolling. I'm rolling. Anybody have any questions? Hello, YouTube. Please on YouTube, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I should have said that right at the beginning. And um on Facebook Live, please share because sharing is caring. You know, I always say that sharing is caring. So let's get into the expat professions. So has anyone been, put a one in the chat. Has anyone been to Sierra Leone or plan to go to Sierra Leone? No people from Sierra Leone. Kushel. I think I'd be doing something. That's high. Kushel. Howdy body. Howdy body. But anybody planning on going to Sierra Leone? Sierra Leone is a hidden gem. It's had a lot of drama, and it's like how Burkina Faso is, but they are coming out of it over the last years. I know that the one reason why I never got over there, my daughter went, I guess, after the unrest had kind of settled down, but while I was married, it was civil war going on. So we could never, go over to the country because it was a lot of war. Like it was off the chain to where my former in-laws, they had to flee and go to Guinea um, because it was so bad. It was very, very bad in the 90s. In the 90s, it was very, very bad. So I never got a chance to go over there, but my daughter did, and she did get her citizenship and her Sierra Leone passport. So the professions are pretty much the same. So um, with the countries that we talk about, with Africa really um, emerging, everything is there to do that you can benefit from. That if you want to be in a work sector or a consultant, the big thing that I suggest is being a consultant. If you were in construction here, you can definitely open, if you work for a construction company here, anything that you worked for here with the talents that you have and how you were trained, because that's what a, a lot of other continents are really impressed with people from the West, of just our processes, our processes. And that is a big thing. You wouldn't think so. I have experienced it, as I share with y'all all the time when I do business, when I'm over in the continent. Yes, they have banks, they look good, but it's just a lot of little stuff that you would never think about, that we take for granted here, that is lacking there. Um, not customer service to a point, but a lot of just systems. So if you worked for a corporate America company in construction, this will be your opportune time to open your own business in construction in Africa, because you have been trained millions of dollars to train. That's one thing I've worked for corporations and very little. I can't work for nobody. Okay. I can't work. 2 Christmases and I'm out. Every place I have worked, I have only survived 2 Christmases. 2 Christmases. So I just get blown away when I hear people saying that they've worked for a company 17 years, 30 years. I'm like, what? I can't get through 30 months. Okay. I can't get through 17 months. And people have worked for places 17 years, 40 years. I just wasn't built like that. I am an entrepreneur. I stopped being an entrepreneur and became, a housewife and a homemaker and the mom and the PTA. I stopped 25 years to do that. But going to a job, the same job every day for 25 years, I just couldn't do it. I'm just not made for it. I'm just not made for it. But anyway, um, you could take, but what I do like when I did work for a certain company, because I did work for, like I said, companies no longer than 2 years. But what I loved and appreciated when you work for these big companies is the money that they spend on professional development. Never sleep on that. If they ever have training, no matter how much you think is boring or you hate it, grab it because they spend millions of dollars. And if there's any HR people in the room, put a yes in the chat to agree. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I am so sorry, y'all. Sorry about that. I put something in the oven and didn't want it to burn up by the time I got off. So yeah, so the professions, just like yesterday, it's kind of repeating itself. So y'all know what to prepare for, but any profession that you're doing here and you want to continue to work or grow on that, I would say to grow on with it in Africa. So if you worked in corporate America and banking or whatever, or finance, you can open a finance, something in finance, or be a consultant to, the banks or whatsoever. Consulting is big, 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 big because you bring so much training, and you know how they be extra here anyway. So when you take it somewhere else, you are really on point because you have that kind of ingrained. So think about that. Healthcare, okay? Healthcare is big, and education, of course, that's the number one. Folks are sleeping on that education. The education, and you just, any educators, anyone really that has a degree and can speak English, that's a wrap. If you want to continue working, if you're younger and want to continue working and you're not at the retirement age, being a teacher is, that's your ticket right there. And being a teacher or in education, a lot of these countries, they give you extra perks. They put you in housing, they give you extra perks for being a teacher. Like teaching here in education here, it's sad, it's not respected. Teachers teach doctors, and teachers only make a certain amount, and teachers go through a whole lot. They're so undervalued in this country. But in other countries, they are top notch. And if you are someone that's from the diaspora, from the UK or the US, and you are a educator, they're running you down. They're running you down. And even if you don't want to be in the classroom, you have the opportunity um, to tutor, always asking for English tutors, every single thing. And you don't even have to know the language. I know my daughter's teacher taught in Abu Dhabi for 2 years, and she made 100 grand. $100,000 US, and they paid for her housing also. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And I think it may be $100,000 a year. I think she got paid 100,000, no tax. Forgot about that one. No tax. So if y'all want to continue working, I would definitely um, look into the education. And when the education isn't just the public schools or whatever. No, no, no. The international schools, those tuitions are like no joke. Those tuitions are like 15 grand a year. So you're in a very, very good position because, yeah, the international schools, it's diplomats and all of that, and English is the taught language. And then, you have private schools in the local areas, but teaching, don't sleep on the education. That education piece, yes. Um, Also, in Sierra Leone, they're trying to rebuild their tourism and hospitality. So that is an area. And what I would suggest, since Sierra Leone is coming out of, the war and all of that, and they're, trying to get themselves back together and trying to attract tourists and build their tourism back. I would, go in if you have that background and go in to be consultants. The consultants make a lot of money when you're consulting different businesses. Who's that? Hey there! Hey, Mr. Dog! I love my YouTube people. Yes, so all right, so also construction, because now they're building, and they're building looking like the West. It's not just the dry looking buildings or whatever the case is. Oh, no, no, no. Has anybody seen Nairobi, Lagos? Crazy. Okay, so if you are in construction, multi-million, millions in USD, millions, because it's so many people going, and it's growing so quickly. They don't have enough people to build the projects. So if you are in construction, I tell one of my friends that's a roofer that he needs to roll over there, because although in a lot of the African countries they have the Makuti roofs are just absolutely beautiful, but the Makuti roofs are almost like a Brooklyn brownstone or a Harlem brownstone. The people that made those, and the craftsmen that made the Brooklyn and the Harlem brownstones are no longer alive. So the craftsmen are not there to maintain, you know, those pieces of architect. So that's the same in Africa. When I first went and I saw the Makuti roofs, I was like, oh my God, that is so fire. This is that, blah, blah, blah. But then I found out how much it is to maintain, finding someone that knows how to maintain those. And then now, if you don't then when it rains a lot, for whatever reason, if it rains a lot during rainy season, it's these bugs that like kind of, I don't know, they harvest inside those Makuti roofs or whatever. See, I'm not doing, no. I'm not doing that. I'm not having no big old bug fall on me from the roof. No, absolutely not. Okay. So, and then sometimes they get dry, and don't let one of them catch on fire. It's a wrap. The whole thing going down. I have it was a condo place in front of my place is all concrete, thank God. But the Makuti roofs will like cave in if they're not maintained, and you can't find people to maintain them. And if you do, it's extremely expensive. So, now they're building differently. So, like I was telling my friend that does roofs, can come in. A lot of people that bought homes that have Makuti roofs have now um, did them over to have, the steel roofs or whatever. But the Makuti roofs are gorgeous, but you can't maintain them. They're expensive to maintain. And, if there's a fire, that's a wrap. It's a whole wrap. So you don't want that liability. And then also, the other profession, if you want to continue to work, is NGOs. Don't sleep on NGOs either. So these are the three things generally not to sleep on when you're considering living in Africa. NGOs, and I'm going to tell you why. NGOs is the Peace Corps. Y'all know where I'm going with this, right? Who be in those jobs? Have y'all looked at how much NGOs pay for project managers and whatever, little humanitarian thing? We don't be in those jobs. The other people do. They don't get paid. We assume that they don't get paid anything. Look at those at positions that's connected to NGOs. Those are non-governmental organizations. So they're kind of connected to the government, but not really. But they pay very well, and we're never in them because they weren't designed for us. But don't sleep on that. Construction, because Africa's a blast. Everything is growing so quickly. They don't have enough developers to come in. And then the education. Those are the three top, in my opinion, the three top not to sleep on, to jump on if you want to continue to work. Um, what I suggest, if you're at a certain age and you have, you know, um, passive income or residual income, you don't have to worry about working. You can, again, live the American dream. You make your money here and you live your best life internationally, if it's Africa or anywhere else. Hey, Albert, welcome. Um, that's how you do it. That's the real American dream in 2025. Make your money here. And and I didn't believe my one of my friends when he told me, if you have 2,000 dollars of passive or residual income coming in per month, you're chilling. No matter where you live in any part of the continent, if you have $2,000. Now, if you have kids in a family, okay, obviously that's more. But if it's just you, so listen, $2,000 a month, okay, 2,000. That's 24 grand a year. Who makes $24,000 a year? We can't survive on I think they've raised the ceiling to the new middle class is 120,000 one person. 120, like six figures used to be very impressive that you hit the ceiling to make. Now six figures, if you hit it, you just okay, you out of drowning. You're out of drowning, and you know you can maybe pay your rent, but you can't have no kids. I that blows me away that young people now, and I talked to some white folks and they said they can't afford to buy a $400,000 house. So they're deciding if they're going to buy a house or have children. And when I said, well, you have children, you built your family. And they said, that's a nice thought. I think my phone getting hot, y'all. Sorry. I hate that when it gets hot. Sorry about that. But thank y'all on the YouTube. YouTube don't be going out, but I think my sorry about that. I think my phone was getting hot, y'all. Sorry about that. I'm on two things. I'm on my phone on Facebook, and I'm on YouTube. Thank y'all, YouTube people. Y'all know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Y'all see a sister is struggling with the subscribers. I played around, so now I'm getting serious. So show me some love and just hit that subscribe button for the sisters. It won't cost you anything. Um, but yeah, so um that is yeah, $2,000, $24,000. Yeah, but they were saying that they're deciding, they're in a dilemma. They want to have kids, but they don't want to raise their kids in an apartment. But they can't afford a house. That's where the state, and that's crazy to me because when I was younger, you went from your parents' house to college to married to, it wasn't a decision of, well, am I going to have a family or am I going to own a house? That's crazy. That's really crazy. So let's go to talking about the cost of living. So the cost of living in Sierra Leone, it's on the high side, and I just think it's because they're just reconstructing. I think when they start to get more tourism back in, those costs will go down, and it will look, but it's still 60% less than what you're spending in the US, and it's on the coast. So you have beachfront, you have all of the tropics, all of that. The people are very, very nice, very, very nice. I'm still, good friends with my former in-laws. They're Sierra Leone people are very, very nice. So there is it's a win-win. It's a win-win. But what time is it? Thank you again. Happy for the hour of power. Because what? Knowledge is power, right? And Africa is the powerful, the motherland. And that's not a trend. That is a bona fide fact. Africa is the motherland because everything originated from Africa. Everything. Everything. So don't let anyone, shade you or shade us. We got to get out of that. And I can't say it enough, that our history did not start from the Atlantic slave trade. That's what they want to always tell us. Oh, yeah, well, we were slaves. No, we weren't. Slavery interrupted the trajectory of the Black people of this world, the Africans of this world. We did not come from slavery. So I want everybody to get that out their mind. Put ain't slaves in the chat. Put it in the chat. Sweet pleasures. Hey. Where are you coming from, sweet pleasures? That's on the YouTube, child. So I want to say, we're not slaves. Guess what? Kingdoms, empires, dynasties. That's where we came from. Women queens back in like 1400. in 1200. Africa has been sitting there from before Christ. If you go to Egypt, those are not play. Those pyramids are not play. Those pyramids are not AI. Those pyramids have been there since before Christ. And there are other African countries older than Egypt. And that's where we came from. So I hear so many people, right, say, "Oh, I ain't leave because I'm in America." Yeah. Sorry, I had a moment. Oh, sorry, but seriously, I'm being silly. Oh, I'm staying in America because America. We were born here. We were born here. We're not from here. Just like them other folks. This ain't their country. It was people already here that they basically have just extinguished. But we, as Black people, you see how they did the indigenous Indians. Can you find one? And then they had the nerve to say, "Oh, well, we're going to give you." They did the same thing in Ghana. I talked about it yesterday. They came in, they kind of colonized, and then no, not in Ghana. My bad. It was in I talked about South Africa yesterday. And right before apartheid, when the who was it? The British, the British with their nasty self. Okay. They came in, took over everything, all right, burned down villages and all that to take control because they found out that the diamonds and the gold was under their feet, so they was going to take control, right? And they ended up segregating everything and giving the people, the residents, okay, telling them where they need to live. And that's what the United States did with the Indians. They said, "Oh, well, you can be on a reservation all day." Like, this history just repeats itself. It's just mind-blowing. So I just want y'all to sit on that we didn't come from slaves. That's right, ain't slaves, child. Las Vegas. I met another young lady from Las Vegas. Yes, I got to go out there. I was going to go out there in the end of what's the name, but well, I'm going to get out there. Thank you. But we ain't slaves. We ain't slaves. We are kings and queens. That's where we came from. I'm just going to end it on that note. So, what's today? Today, Thursday. And I'm old school. Like on a phone, I ain't trying. This is my what's name, but because my phone there. If I put stuff in my phone, I wouldn't find it. And I would probably end up losing my phone, and then that'd be a wrap. Okay. I'm so scared to lose my phone. But I write down everything. I probably have 10 books. You see that? I'm so old school, but that's the only reason. Y'all understand. I don't know how these young people be putting stuff in their phone. But what's today? Today is the 6th. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday. What are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow, I think it's Senegal. Let me just check. Tomorrow, thank y'all so much for coming on, though. Like, serious talk. I appreciate y'all. Y'all give me so much energy because I'm out. I got 50-11 jobs, right? Because I'm trying to get to the motherland and chill. So I'm putting in the work now. I'm paying now to play later, right? So by the time I come home and kind of sit, I'll be like, so And I'm like, oh, I got to do this. But then when I go on the live, y'all give me so much life, yo. All right. So tomorrow we are doing Rwanda. We're doing Rwanda. So we're going to talk about, the process with Rwanda. And again, since this is a series on citizenship, I'm going to keep it on citizenship to give y'all an overview, but just, the visa process and the different visas and all of that. Oh, and I didn't mention that the visas for Sierra Leone is about $100 for the basic visa. So if there's nothing else, y'all can always reach me, DM me. As I told y'all all the time, I have the coming home guide step by step. It's a 12-month step by step travel and repatriation guidebook to just lay out if you're planning on traveling or going through repatriation. It's 12 months to give you step by step. Just go to Glampluxe Travels or email or DM me. I'll send you the link for it. It's really, really cool. Work hard on it. And then if you also want like the itineraries, I think I have some itineraries too. But if you have any questions, if you're planning on going to the continent, I would love to assist and guide. Just give me just DM me and we can talk. But tomorrow will be Rwanda. I hope to see all of y'all on the chat. And I want to thank y'all so much for coming on. I want y'all to have a blessed evening and take care. All right. Y'all take care. Thank y'all so much for coming on. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.